and welcome to the Shy Sheep. So this week's video, I'm sure you can tell from the title, but I thought it would be fun to discuss some of the best and worst manufacturers, and I actually got this idea from, I think it was a while ago. I made a community post thanking you all for the like a milestone of subscribers, which thank you again. I think I might have just hit 800 subscribers while I'm filming this, so thank you so much for 800 subscribers. It really means a lot to me, and I really can't believe that there's 800 of you that want to watch me, so it makes me really happy. I made this channel to be able to connect with people and to share my love for anime and anime figures, since I don't have like any friends who have that same anime figure interest as me, and it's really been lovely being able to speak to all of you and like connect with so many people about something I really love, and it's made me so happy, and I just really enjoy doing this so much. So I'm really glad that there are so many of you enjoying it, so thank you so much. And I hope you continue to enjoy what I do. Anyway, so going back to that, on one of those posts, I think one or two of you mentioned that you wanted to see what I thought and my opinions about different figure manufacturers. So I actually like wrote that down as a future video idea, so I thought I would do it now. I didn't actually get this idea from GwynCollects, even though she has done a video on this, so I will be linking her video and channel nonetheless, because she did do this video first, but I did actually do this video because someone asked for it. I won't be able to cover all the manufacturers, so if you want me to do a part 2 covering some more manufacturers, then I'll definitely do that. Just let me know. The first manufacturer is actually one of my personal favorites, and it is Ulta. Of course, how could Ulta not be on this list first? Okay, so I'm going to be going through some pros and cons of each manufacturer. So we'll start with Ulta's pros, since they're basically mostly pros. So Ulta has extremely high quality. You always know that you're going to get an amazing figure when you pre-order or purchase a figure made by Ulta. I always see people having nothing but good things to say about Ulta, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone really complain about an Ulta figure, especially not about their quality control. Their quality control seems to be really top-notch. I really haven't seen anyone complain about quality controlled Ulta, and if they have, I've clearly missed it, or it's been something really minor. But I think it's very uncommon to get a QC issue with Ulta. Ulta's paint jobs and sculpt work is just, it's superior. Like the shading and paint jobs that they do is just, there's so much attention to detail, and they put so much effort into every figure. Like my Saber Ulta dress version, my Shinobu, their shading and sculpt is impeccable. It's stunning, it's pristine, there's never any paint bleed, there's nothing ever out of place. Everything, even things that you can't see, have like details on them or shading, and it's always just perfect. You will not be disappointed if you get an Ulta figure. Basically, that's kind of like the guarantee that comes with Ulta. However, on the flip side, some cons are Ulta is very expensive nowadays. One of the more expensive brands on the market, I would definitely say, so they are not affordable. So you get really good quality, but for a really high price, and it's generally out of most people's price range. So that is quite disappointing. They also mainly do female characters, which is great if, I mean, you are a female figure collector. I'm more lean towards male figures, so for me it's a bad thing. So for my male figure collectors out there, this could be a negative for you. They do have an Altair line, I think that's how you pronounce it, which is more male figures. Again, they seem to be a lot more expensive though, and they don't make that many male figures. So it's generally more female skewed, and I've also found Ulta generally makes figures from things like games or from anime that I really am not interested in. The next manufacturer is Aniplex, and this is in no particular order of my favorites. It's kind of just how I thought of them. So Aniplex seems to be an overall good company. I don't have much experience with Aniplex, so I did do some research on these companies that I don't have a lot of experience with. I do have 2 Aniplex figures. They are my Kaguya-sama girls over there. So they generally do a good job. But they are slightly iffy in that I have noticed that lots of people have problems with their quality control. So their quality control seems to vary. So you need to take that into account. Be prepared that your Aniplex figure might come with some sort of defect. It might not, it might be perfect, but it seems like their quality control isn't like super pristine, you know? So you might get minor defects and things. So yeah, I guess I'm starting with the cons. Aniplex seems to be mid to more expensive priced, which is a little bit disappointing if you're getting things with some quality control issues. I can definitely understand that if you are paying for a more expensive figure. But then you get other figures like, I think they're making a Tengen from Demon Slayer who looks amazing. His price is not dreadful, it's not really affordable either, but it's definitely okay. It's not the worst price I've ever seen. Their Akaza also seems it was pretty much the same price as Shinobu, so he seems pretty averagely priced, definitely not affordable though. So the pros, I guess, they do tend to have an overall good quality, good sculpt, good paint job. They do seem to lack in details. Like I said, I think my figures that I own are the least detailed out of all my figures that I own. Even though they do have a nice paint job, a nice sculpt, it's not like the best. So I don't think they're like the best, but I think you will get an overall good figure from them, and I think that you will be happy. As long as you think that the price is worth it and you obviously take these things into consideration. They also have a very lovely Demon Slayer line, so I think that that's a big plus in my eyes. The next manufacturer is one of my favorite manufacturers, and that is Kotobukiya. Kotobukiya is just an all-around very great company. They have very affordable figures. So I'll go through these pros. They have very affordable figures, especially for what you are getting. They generally come with some sort of an interesting base. It's not boring and it's not overly intricate, which for me that's the perfect kind of base. But it's generally never just a plain bland circle. It always has something going on, like my Eren figure and my Rengoku figure behind me. Their bases are all interesting, and yeah, I think that that's a really nice touch, given that they're very affordable. They don't just cheap out at the base. Kotobukiya's sculpt work and paint jobs I always find to be beautiful. I have been so impressed with Kotobukiya's paint jobs on my Eren, on my Yuki, on my Rengoku. I think that they are some of the best paint jobs that I have, besides Ulta probably. I think that they are beautiful. They always pay so much attention to detail, at least in the figures I have. I have heard that Kotobukiya can sometimes be a bit iffy. But at least in my figures, there's so much detail even in the parts where you wouldn't necessarily be looking at the figure when you're displaying them. And they do a wonderful job in sculpting the figures. They also make a lot of male figures, and they also tend to make quite a few figures from the same anime, so you can pick up a set of the multiple characters. So it's nice then if you want like a shelf, or you like a lot of characters from the show and you don't just want the one that everyone loves, you know. So some cons with Kotobukiya is they do have some minor QC issues. I'd say I haven't seen like really major quality control issues where like something is just like defective. I have seen some minor paintwork and sculpt issues on people's figures on Reddit or my figure collection, but they're nothing like super major, and for the price I think that it's definitely forgivable. I've also noticed some people like they can't like sometimes fit everything in the peg hole, but generally it's kind of like hidden, and I did see some people struggling with their Jujutsu Kaisen skills actually getting them on the pegs initially, so there are some issues like that, but I think it comes with the territory with a very much more affordable figure. Also, what I have noticed with Kotobukiya is in general they do have very good faces, but I have noticed that sometimes their faces can be very off and they sometimes drop the ball on the face, which then I don't pick up that figure. But yeah, it's just something I've noticed. Their faces are not always 100%. The next manufacturer, since this is a thing on the best and worst manufacturers, I had to include this manufacturer. In case you are someone new to the figure collecting community, I think this is very important for you to know. FOTS Japan and Beefle, I think they're like the same company. This is the biggest red flag ever that I have seen in the figure community. Like, if you see that under a figure you like, just resist the urge to purchase it and avoid it like the plague. Avoid FOTS Japan and Beefle. I personally never bought from them because I have just abided by these warnings. Okay, so apparently I have heard, and I think read up, that they 3D print their figures, which makes them a lot more fragile and brittle. They also do not package their figures very well. I think in the past they didn't even use blister packaging. I think that may have changed now, although I'm not 100% sure, so it might not be blister packed. So anyway, the big issue with FOTS Japan is that figures more often than not arrive broken, and I don't mean a minor break that you can easily fix. I mean broken, like in pieces. Which is really disappointing if you are paying a higher price for a figure and it rocks up broken. And it's also maybe a character that you really love. It can be really disappointing for that to happen and quite heartbreaking. And it's not like it's a rare occurrence, it is very common in this company. And I said more often than not, they come broken. I know it is so bad that Army doesn't even sell anything by FOTS Japan. And I've seen places that do sell FOTS Japan and Beefle figures have a big warning saying that this figure will probably arrive broken. This manufacturer is known for having figures arrive broken. And I've even seen them say that if your figure arrives broken from this manufacturer, you will not receive a refund or a replacement. Which, like, is it even worth taking the risk then? No, like... The next manufacturer is another controversial one, but unlike the previous manufacturer, I do actually like this manufacturer I'm about to speak about. And that is estream. Estream, I don't know if they make any other kind of figure, I haven't seen it, but they are most well known for their Shibuya Scramble figures. They are a very controversial company. I will be going through their cons first, since I feel like that is most accurate. The most obvious con is estream is extremely overpriced. Their prices are so incredibly high. They're like unreal sometimes. But I have seen some of their figures okay priced, but it's more often than not they're very expensive. So obviously that's a con. I do believe, I could be mistaken, so please correct me if I'm wrong, that estream is a relatively new company compared to the other manufacturers, which I do believe, if this is the case, this is probably where all their issues come from, because they're a new company, they're still sorting things out. But yeah, so they overcharge, but they do have QC issues, which more often than not are minor QC issues, which is not that bad, but it is unacceptable when you are paying a very premium price for a figure. They have had a major QC defect in the past with their albedo, I still don't know how to pronounce her name, their albedo figure that they released, I think it was 2021. There was something with her wings that it was nothing like the prototype. They were even telling people to use hair dryers. They did eventually recall the figures and replace them all and fix the problem, which I do think was very nice of them, but they should have just done that from the beginning. I have seen their crystal dress figures arrive broken. So some of their figures like that have arrived broken. I don't think they have been too major, but for their price they shouldn't be arriving broken. They should be very well packaged so that they aren't arriving broken. Just keep that in mind. I haven't seen it with any of their other figures though, so I think in general you aren't gonna get a broken figure from them. Anyway, the pros. You may be asking, how can you like this company, Megan? I actually find that they come out with some really wonderfully unique figures. I love how unique their sculpts are, and generally their bases. Sometimes I find their bases ugly and clunky and a reason to charge their premium prices, but in general I find their bases to be really beautiful and actually complement the figure, even though they are a bit more big and complicated. I don't think they really take away from the figures too much, which I really appreciate. I generally think that they get their faces of the figures and characters really spot on, and from all the figures, since I don't own an estream figure, from all the figures I've seen other people unbox, I think that their paint job is amazing. I've really been always impressed with the level of detail and paint in the paint that estream has done, and I think that their sculpt is also really wonderful. I think that they really do a good job with delivering on the prototype image in general. They do seem to actually do quite a few characters from the same anime, so you can pick up a set, which is really lovely. An example is the ReZero ones, the Sword Art Online figures, and now the Jujutsu Kaisen figures, which I'm so happy about. So I'll be picking those up, and hopefully I won't be disappointed with my estream figures. The next company is probably one of the most well-known companies, and that is Good Smile Company. They are probably a favorite by almost everyone in the figure collecting community. I always see people saying Good Smile is their favorite, Good Smile will always knock it out of the park, Good Smile never disappoints, they're a top manufacturer, and honestly they're right. Good Smile, I actually have a Good Smile Company figure. It is my Eren Anakari throne figure. You know that you're in good hands with Good Smile Company. They do a wonderful job. The paintwork, superior. Sculpt work, superior. They're always knocking their figures out of the park. Their quality control is on point. And if you ever have an issue, their customer service is wonderful. They always replace your figures if it is something that is a big issue that should not be there and it's not like an expected issue. Good Smile Company will definitely not let you down. You will always be getting top quality figures from Good Smile. You will love your Good Smile figure. So just a top manufacturer in the figure collecting community. Some of the cons of Good Smile is their prices are pretty premium. Generally your Good Smile Company figures are very expensive. They generally charge around Ulta's prices pretty much because they can. I have also noticed that they do open their more complicated figures quite far in advance for pre-orders, just like Fat Company, making it very difficult for me personally to plan my collection, plan my pre-orders, financially budget and plan for the future, because, you know, so much can happen in like a year or two of the figure stuff that like there could be something more that I want, and if you pre-order off of Good Smile, I do think that you cannot cancel, so that is something to keep in mind. I must say that I don't think that they make many male figures, so that could definitely be a con if you like me and you like collecting male figures. The last manufacturer, I thought we would end off on a high note. Many people in the figure community consider this one of the best manufacturers as well overall, but it's Mythos or Mythos. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm gonna say Mythos in this video. Correct me if I'm wrong. Although I don't even know if anyone knows how to pronounce it because I see it pronounced so differently everywhere. Anyway, they do a lot of original characters, just to let you know. For me personally, I'll go through the cons, but there are more cons for me. For me personally, they don't make a lot of figures that I'm interested in, of characters I'm interested in. It's generally other things that other people are interested in. So, you know, that's sad for me, in other words. They do phenomenal jobs with their figures. They are always interesting and so unique. Their figures are always so different to what is out there on the market. They just look amazing. Like, you can't even believe that they're putting these figures out, especially for their price. They are so affordable. They're like Kotobukiya price, maybe just a little bit more expensive, but compared to what you would expect the price to be from another manufacturer, so affordable, amazing. And their sculpt is incredible. The paint jobs, the amount of detail and attention to detail in the figures is incredible, and it's all for this like affordable price. And I personally haven't seen many people complaining about quality control issues with my ethos. So they just knock every figure they do out of the park. Whenever I see someone getting their my ethos figure, they're always blown away by what they've received. So I think that if you choose to get a my ethos figure, you are in such good hands and you will be so happy with your figure. I think that is the general trend with them. So yeah, I have nothing bad to say about them. I'm always blown away by their prototypes, and then seeing someone unbox them, I'm like, that is the prototype, like it's not different, like that's amazing. And for that, I can't believe it, you know? So those are all the manufacturers that I have for you today. I hope I covered quite a few that you're interested in. There's still actually a few that I wanted to cover, but I feel like this video will be far too long. I hope that you enjoyed the video and that you found it interesting and informative if you didn't know any of this stuff, or that you agreed with what I was saying if you are, if you have a lot of knowledge in this area. And I hope it was entertaining. Anyway, that's it for this video. I do hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all next week. But it's okay if you don't want to, I understand. But I hope you all have a lovely day, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. And yeah, bye guys!